Now, I enjoy to read, and when I read, my preferred genre of reading is science fiction. And furthermore, when I watch movies, oftentimes I enjoy watching movies of science fiction. Now, one of the interesting things to note about science fiction is what they use for weaponry. And oftentimes, one of the common themes is lasers. Be it the Death Star, the Starship Enterprise, or even Iron Man from the Marvel Universe, lasers tend to pop up in a lot of science fiction media, a lot of futuristic ideas. And it's because of my fascination with lasers that I have chosen to talk about directed energy. Now, you may ask, well, you were just talking about lasers. Why should you mention directed energy now? Well, directed energy is just a fancy way of saying lasers, and I'll be alluding to that later in the speech. Now, we'll be looking at the lasers, directed energy, through several points. First, how some of this technology is already operational. Second, some of the benefits of lasers as preferred to traditional weaponry of missiles. And third and finally, some future advancements we can expect from these lasers. Now, to start off with how the tech is already operational, what we have current capacity for. Now, current lasers can take out a variety of small targets. They can do so over a short distance, as explained by Lockheed Martin's website, Lockheed Martin being one of the primary contributors to this technology. They say, quote, "Our technology today is ready to defend against small rockets, artillery shells, and mortars, small unmanned aerial vehicles, small attack boats, and lightweight ground vehicles that are approximately a mile away. As fiber laser powers increase, our systems will be able to disable larger threats and do so across greater distance," end quote. Furthermore, it isn't just Lockheed Martin saying that their product is good. We've actually seen some tests of these lasers working in action. They've been proven to some extent in the past. This is according to John Skillings, writing for CNET. He says, quote, "In 2015, it's Lockheed Martin's Athena system tying together three 10-kilowatt lasers to form a large 30-kilowatt beam, disabled a truck by burning through the engine manifold in a matter of seconds. Small vehicles such as trucks can already be disabled with current lasers in a matter of seconds. Just think about what the future lasers might be able to do." But to give a picture of some of the impressive performance of these lasers and the precision, we look to Paul Shattuck, the director of directed energy systems for Lockheed Martin. He says, quote, "Our beam control technology enables precision, equivalent to shooting a beach ball off the top of the Empire State Building from the San Francisco Bay Bridge," end quote. It is with these impressive lasers that we can see a few things of how they are preferred over traditional weaponry. Now, the first thing to note is that they have a larger number of shots. In addition to that, each shot is a lower cost because we're dealing with light and with energy right here. You don't have to build a missile every time you want to shoot something down. This is according to Jen Judson, writing for Defense News. She says, quote, "A laser weapon will have a much larger number of shots depending on power availability and would be far less expensive to fire at a threat than a missile," end quote. But further along, going with that accuracy point I made earlier, because of this additional accuracy, there's actually less collateral damage to other things. As explained by Dr. Rob Afzal, writing for Lockheed Martin, he's a senior fellow there, he says, quote, "They're designed to be precise, to yield minimal collateral damage, and in essence offer an endless magazine," end quote. And so with some of these benefits over traditional missiles, let's look to what we can expect from the future. Now, the first thing to note is their best use for these lasers is in a defensive measure. Yes, they can be used for offensive purposes, but they're better as a defensive weapon. According to Sebastian Roblin, writing for the National Interest, he says, quote, "More powerful lasers could damage missile flight, control fins, or even thermally trigger warheads," end quote. So this technology could shoot missiles out of the air before they even get close to us. But furthermore, not just small missiles might this be able to take care of, but these future lasers could potentially stop a nuclear threat. This is according to David Axe, writing for the National Interest. He says, quote, "The Navy hopes to begin fielding a megawatt-class laser in the 2025 timeframe. A laser with that kind of power could destroy ballistic missiles," end quote. Ballistic missiles being the common carrier for nuclear warheads. So these future lasers on Navy ships could potentially stop nuclear war from ever reaching the United States. And so looking back at these lasers, we've seen some of the tech that's already operational within Lockheed Martin. We've seen some of the benefits over traditional missiles and the fact that you have endless supply of ammo and you don't have to pay money for parts. And third and finally, we've examined some of the future advancements. So in the same way as all these cool things within technology, I think it's really cool to see this come to the real world, and I hope you appreciate it.